Okay, so we're back and I've installed all 6 GPUs. We have one MSI, 3 ASUS, and 2 GB. Again, all of them are 1660 Ti. And we've done a bit of wire management, as you can see, so just to keep things clean. So let's turn it on, and there are a couple things I want to share. I was troubleshooting some of the issues. So we have that switch to turn on the entire rig. So as it is turning on, a couple things to keep in mind. One, I mentioned about the Windows issue that I had, and something I learned as I was building this rig is if you have a laptop or a computer, personal computer with Windows, you could actually create your own bootable file. You just have to go on windows.com and essentially just search for an ISO file, and you can just create a bootable disk on a USB for free from Microsoft, not windows.com, sorry, microsoft.com. And that's what I've been using, and that's been a blessing because we ran into a lot of challenges with the Windows ISO file that I got off one of the mining forums. The second thing is now that we have installed all the graphic cards, we just want to make sure that we can detect them. So we go on the Windows icon on the bottom left, right click, go to Device Manager, and then we go under Display Adapters, and you can see we have 6 1660 Ti, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So when I install all 6 GPUs, I ran into an issue and I could only detect 5. So usually there are a few reasons that would happen. Either you have a bad riser. In our case, I could see both the blue and the red light turning on. Not that that's the clear indication the riser is fine, but that's the first indication that the riser is working as expected. The second could be that one of the USB cables could be loose. So I checked that and I still had the issue. So what I did was I ended up, and it might be hard to see, but I had one of the ASUS GPUs in the PCI 1 slot, and I took it out to see if that's the one that's not being detected, and I got lucky that was the fourth one, or the third ASUS, because the first was MSI, was the one that was not being detected. And I moved that particular graphics card from a PCI 1 slot to a 16 slot, and I can see all 6 GPUs. So I'm not sure if there's an issue with that particular slot or there's some sort of a setting that I need to go change it. But for now, we have our 6 GPUs. So that's great news. The second thing you may want to download is what we call a Tech Power GPU Z. So you can just Google for that. And let me zoom in the screen a little bit because I want to show you a few things about that particular package, so software. Okay, so this is a free application that you can download. It's called, again, Tech Power Up GPU Z from the internet. And it shows some really good information about your GPUs. And you can see here is listing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all 6 of our GPUs. And as you click on them, it shows you, what vendors. In this case, it's an ASUS. It shows what memory type, and this is really important, who the manufacturer is. So there's Samsung, Micron, and Hynix. Usually, or not usually, I've heard at times, people say there's different settings or issues with the Hynix memory, and Samsung is considered top of the line. But at the end of the day, if you have Samsung, Micron, or Hynix, you should be fine. So in case of ASUS, we have the Samsung, as you can see here. And then you can select the next one. It takes a minute or two, and you can see this is a gigabyte. So those are these two on one of the far left on the rig, and that's a Micron. And let's see if we can find an MSI. So I'll select this fourth one, which I think I know it's an MSI. So that's a Micron 2. So in my case, my ASUS GPUs have the Samsung memory, and then the MSI and the Gigabyte, they both have the Micron. So I don't have the Hynix memory. Okay, so that's it with the GPU setup. And like I think I mentioned this, essentially we go through the GeForce experience. You create an account, you go to drivers, essentially you check for updates and install the latest driver. So we have the latest driver here, and once you install that driver and you go into device manager, it should detect all your GPUs and it should say Nvidia and then whatever series GPU you have. If you happen to have AMD, it'll of course be a different set of drivers. So that's it with the installation of the GPUs and setting up the mining rig. There's one last thing we need to do with the mining rig in terms of the hardware install, and then we can go in and download the mining software to start mining. So what we're gonna do next is we're gonna shut this down first. And as we're shutting that down, we're gonna put the fans on the rig. So I'm gonna zoom out again, and so we're gonna install the fans on our rig. Like I said, this is an 8 GPU rig, and so you can see we got room for 2 more. And let me get my okay. So a couple things about the fans. So I already have the fans installed here. So these are Noctua fans, and I'll put the link for them as well. And the way you want to do this is you want to pull the air away from the cards. So again, this is the back of the so this is the front of the rig. And the reason you want to pull the air away from the cards is because these cards have fans on them that are blowing the heat out. And then you essentially want to pull that heat away from the mining rig. And the way to tell which direction the air flows, you can check the manufacturer and the fan, but in case of Noctua, and I would assume most of them, wherever you see the label of the manufacturer, the air is moving in that direction. The other way to tell is that you can see the fan, there's no grill here in front of it. And behind this black grill, there's another plastic grill you can see. So that's usually the front of it. And then these metal grill and the yellow clips came with the mining frame. So that's what is sort of holding all these 7 fans together. So we're gonna install them first on the rig. So there's just a little piece of hardware here that we need to slide it and go. You need to do the same on the other side. Okay, slide this one. Okay, so now we have them in here. So we're going to tighten them so they don't slide down. Okay, so one of them slid out. Okay, so let's try this again. We have this little nut in the back, which is what is holding them in place. It could be a little tricky at times. Okay, there we go. So just a bit so it slides into the mining rig frame. Okay, so we're gonna slide this in first. This is the guy that's coming out, so let's tighten that first. Okay, Now that we have that in place. Okay, we have this side attached. And these are supposed to be high quality fans. So again, these cost a little bit more than your, but you could get again, my thinking about the mining rig is you want to get parts that are higher quality, because you're going to make this investment and you want your rig to last for a long time, so you don't want to replace things. But if you're on budget, you can certainly, there are several other brands, and I'll put some links from other miners who have some great recommendation on other fans to consider. Let's see here. Okay. And this one is not properly installed, so let's try it again. Okay. So we have our fans installed now. You can see this one on the far left side is still not coming. It's not. What we need to do is push it in, down. That does. Okay, so that guy there is certainly giving us some trouble. Okay, we have it now. So you can see for each of these fans, they have this called, I think they call it PNW4 or one of those connectors. And we got, it's an 8 GPU rig, so you got 7 fans, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and usually they line up in between the cards to pull the heat away. Now, the way we're going to connect these fans for power is you're going to use this fan hub. As you can see here, it's a fan hub where you can connect each of these fans. You don't want to use the red slot from what I understand, because this is the one that's to power the fan on, if you put additional fan on the motherboard. So we got this nice CPU cover here. We can use the backside of that to stick this, and let's see if all of them reach. Okay, so what we could do is there are you can use some extender cables that came with the fan. This is a great company. You can see the packaging. They also have this Y cable you could potentially connect to and see if that would do it. Maybe not. So let's just use the, so they have these extender cables. So I'm just going to install them. And then once I'm done installing, we can take a look at how it looks like. Okay, so we have plugged all our fans to this fan hub. Since we don't have 2 GPUs, I haven't plugged these last 2 fans, but however, we have slots of 4 more. So when we add more GPUs, I will certainly wire them in. I just don't want to, just use the fan for no reason. So let's turn it on before I stick this hub to the back of the SSD drive case. And the way we power this is with the SATA cable. So we connected the SATA here, and then it goes into the in our PSU. So again, fingers crossed, the fans should work when we turn this on. So here we go. And there you have it. You can see the fans are running. So the 5 of these fans are running, and the last 2 are off because we haven't connected them, which is great. So these, you can feel it. The fan is pushing the air out. These fans do come with another cable. Those are called the speed reducer cables. So this one is running at about 15 to 1600 RPM. They do have a cable that reduces the speed to 1200 RPM. So you'll have to see what kind of temperatures your the graphic card is maintaining, and if you can lower the speed, that's great. Potentially can increase the life of the cable. I'm sorry, the fan. So looks like it's working. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna shut down the rig for a second, attach the fan hub to the back of the SSD case plate, and then we'll get into installing our NiceHash miner and start mining.